heaven shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. When Moses saw that a burning bush, he walked it round and around. And the Lord said to Moses, you's treading holy ground. I saw the light from heaven shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. Dry bones in that valley got up and took a little walk. The deaf could hear and the dumb could talk. I saw the light from heaven shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down. Adam and Eve in the garden under that sycamore tree. Eve said, Adam, Satan am tempting me. I saw the light from heaven shining all around. I saw the light come shining, I saw the light come down.
Welcome to Driven by Me, and this is tonight we will continue the silhouette technique, which is a design technique used I think in fashion and video game, of course, character design, props design. So we will continue where we left off. It was the guards. So let's do this. I'll open Krita first. Let's see if I can maybe switch to GIMP just to have a broader use of software. So GIMP is similar. There might not be so much differences. I don't like many things in GIMP, and let's see why first. So let's share the screen. I will download the GIMP directly. This is because the guy who asked me the advices uses GIMP, so I will use it to be sure to show you if you want to use it, if you prefer it over Krita. I don't prefer it because of the scale tool I think, and I have troubles with the stylus sensitivity with my tablet specifically. I don't know if it's all tablets that has you need to set the pressure Krita too, but I had trouble last time. So GIMP is already installed, I think. Yeah, it's already installed. I don't need to install it. There is another alternative, as I said, probably said it. This is Photopea, which is similar to Photoshop. You can download it, you can use it in the browser. I think I still have it downloaded. Photopea, yes. It's since it's like Photoshop, it's very nice. You might have similar controls. Let's try it a bit. You can open PSD files, Photoshop files, which is very nice. Let's go to, this is a direct folder. I find it better than the old quick access that are discontinued quick access, it seems, in Windows 11. So you set your folders, any kind of folder. Sometimes it doesn't work. You just open it on another screen. You go like when it doesn't work in a software, you can go on your background, open it, and then copy and paste the path. Sometimes you can't even like there are install wizard that don't even take the path, so it's a bit, you need to do it by hand, and so that sometimes it doesn't work and direct folder doesn't open because the software use another API for the window. It's a bit I wouldn't say boring, I would say it's a bit enraging sometimes, because you will be used to go fast with the direct folder, and when it you can't use it, it's you need to like do it by hand, like the old way. It's like not having access to your car and having to go by foot. In project concept art cards. So Krita saves in KRA files. Photopea will save in PSD file. Let's see if I can open a Krita file with Photopea. Yes, Photopea is our. Let's see if they have the in the browser in web Photopea. You can do the shortcut because it's Chrome, but now I'm not in Chrome. Let's try the shortcut. So it seems to work, but not as intended. Let's try with like fill in square. Then yes, the Photoshop shortcut works. It won't work in the browser, so you will not be able to do like a Ctrl+T in the browser because you are in Chrome. But when you install it on your computer, you can. So let's see if it can like jump to yes, it can jump to a layer, but it seems to create a layer. It duplicates it. It duplicate. Maybe I'm yeah, it duplicated. Maybe I'm forgetting the shortcut. Let's search it. Photoshop. Photoshop shortcut. Cut this layer. Access layer. No. Control Alt Shift F? No. Quick access. Quick access. Quick click layer. Click to layer. Click pixel to layer. Pixel to layer. Control. It says control, so maybe it's been too long. Yeah, it's control, so it works. In my memory it was alt, but alt duplicates, so it's control. You have like plus to row there. Doesn't seem to work. Control plus zoom. Shift plus changes the blending. Pick alt to pick when you are on brush. It works. How did I don't remember what. Oh, that way. It's right click to the size. I often did this. I think Frita and GIMP share a bit of some of the shortcut with Photoshop. So let's try GIMP. Does GIMP open Frita files? So you see it has an API that is not Photoshop. Windows. I can't use direct folder. GIMP does that. Blender has its own API for the navigation. Photopea, I think it's Windows. Yes, I can do it. Blender, let's see if it uses not Frita, though I would like some Frita. Not Frita. Okay. Frita. Let's see if they use the Windows API. Yes. So one more thing that I don't like about GIMP is they don't use the Windows API, so I need to. I might be able to put. No, I can't even put the path. So I need to search the path and then go back to the old ways. OneDrive, personal. In project art, concept art guards. It sees the Frita because I didn't even do show all. Does it open Frita file? Nope. So one thing that I don't like about GIMP is that. So let's see if the other guys open GIMP. If they open GIMP is the GIMP would be do fill in background color, save as GIMP. now I need to... Okay, at least they have fast access. Card. Let's name it the same as this one to see. Remove. Save. I would just do a quick checkup of GIMP and I will use it in the French stream for the guy who asked, because he is French. So now that we saved, let's see if Krita opens GIMP. Game project, make a Preact, art dep, concept art, cards, GIMP. Yes, it opens GIMP, but I don't have the this. Let's see if I add layers in folder and do like a diddly do like this. Or oh, they have the same. It has the same shortcut as in Krita. To unselect, save. Let's open this in Krita. No, it doesn't open it. Can it import or something? It's just to say we can open it, but we don't care. Photopea. Let's see. Can Photopea open GIMP? And if it cannot, it means that GIMP is just like, oh, it can. So Photopea so far is the one who opens both of them with the layers. To be sure, let's close them. Close all. Open XCF. No, they don't like each other, it seems. But Photopea likes everything. So I might switch back to Photopea eventually. I would check the pen pressure because that's one thing I didn't like about GIMP and Krita. The feeling was not like Photoshop, and I'm tempted to try it. I'm tempted. Does it has pen pressure though? Because Photoshop is something there I remember well. Maybe I need to activate it in the settings. Sorry for taking time. Let's see on the internet instead. That will be straightforward. Photopea stylus pen pressure. To use stylus pen pressure in Photopea, you can enable stylus pressure control opacity or stylus pressure control size in the top size. Blah, 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 blah. Someone rang the bell at my door and I don't hear. Yeah, someone is going to open the door. So to activate pen pressure, I don't want AI to tell me that, because I don't feel like he's saying
how to adjust
something.
pen pressure when using a graphic pen tablet on Photopea.com. Coming up. Alright, so first things first, go ahead and plug in your pen tablet, then open up Thropy.com. I actually have it installed on my computer. Create a new project. The size does not matter. We're just going to test this out. Pick the brush tool. Let's set this up to now let me first show you how the brush strokes look. As you can see here, line width is constant. The brush just lays down these strokes with the same intensity every time, no matter how hard or soft I press. Now to enable adjust spin pressure, all you have to do is open this brush properties window. Enable tip dynamics by clicking on it here. Under this size jitter slider, there's a control drop down menu. Switch that from off to pin pressure and crank up the diameter slider to 100%. That's it. Now let's close this and test again. Now notice how light or heavy your strokes will become based on how much pressure you apply. Pretty neat, hey?
Okay,
So
let's
satisfying.
try. I want to see if it lags like him. Secret door to the green screen. There's a secret door in the green screen inside it. And then when you open the portal, you can find a tablet. Like portal to another world with a tablet in it. It's a very large tablet. Oh, it's some dust. It's been a few months. In a few months. Yeah. I just want to see if it lags like it did in the browser. I hope it does not. I would be very happy. Would mean like free Photoshop for me. To me, it would be. Except no AI stuff, but that's not really important. Where is my stylus? Okay. Now I need to set my webcam to the right. To plug it in my computer. In the computer. In the computer. There is many wires. I hope I still have like some USB port. Yes. Now back to pen pressure. Opening Wacom. Setting the Wacom mapping to the other screen. No. Yes. Like it to have it small like that because my hand doesn't move all the way through from one side to the other. Why? Whatever. Yes, it worked. It worked. It worked. Works. It's a free Photoshop for me. To me, it's like a free Photoshop. So let's remove this. Fill this blank canvas with fill. Color fill white. I think from now on I might use the software instead of Krita. Let's see. Okay. There is a bit of lag. When I touch the first time, there is a bit of lag. Let's see if I can correct this with the is there other options, more options better? No. The first touch is like the lag. Let's see what the task manager says. Okay. Let's try to close a bit of I will pin my work and close Chrome because it takes a lot of memory on my computer. There you go. On any YouTube pages, it put the video in your memory card, so it's very it takes a lot of memory. That's the main issue in all browsers. It's YouTube. Mostly YouTube. So we close the one with my chat, but I have a multi-chat, so that's not so bad. I hope you hear me well, because my microphone is far away from my mouth. You might hear me like a cane in a cane. Okay, so Chrome is still open somewhere, and I would guess that it's it might be Photopea. It might be Photopea. Let's try to close it. Yeah, Photopea still runs on Chrome, which is sad. Even if it's installed, it's a Chrome-based software. But at least it kept my drawing. So no, it didn't get. So only this used like almost 2000 megabytes on my computer. So B for brush, it worked. Yeah, there's the little lag at the beginning when I clicked the first time. Which is sad. And the dynamic wasn't even ticked. There's always this lag. Oh. The issue why I wouldn't buy it, it's the little lag that's there. And why I wouldn't switch to Photopea. I might stick to Krita just for this lag stuff at every time I touch the tablet. So let's go back to Krita. I will remove my tablet to be supportive of you who might not have a tablet, and go back to the mouse to show you that you can do it without a tablet. You can do it. Just do it. It's a principle that I learned one day. I wanted to buy an exercise. I think it was like a stationary bike for exercise. And my friend said people, when they buy this, it only serves to accumulate dust, just like my tablet. So every time I think about buying something, I'm trying to think of how can I do it now without buying it. There is always some kind of way to do something without buying something very expensive. At least you can like buy a simile thing, a smaller part, a cheaper part. It's not always the case. Sometimes, let's say you want to start doing 3D printing, you need to buy a 3D printer. But you can start like doing 3D modeling for free in Blender. That would be the first step, instead of buying and building your motivation on the fact that you bought something is the wrong way. It's the other way around. Motivation doesn't lead consistency. Consistency will lead motivation. That means that when you don't have motivation, consistency will lead you. But if you don't have consistency, motivation will not lead consistency. It's this principle. You can see it when you buy something and you lose motivation. You buy something thinking that the motivation will be enough. You don't think about the consistency. But if you don't buy something and you do it with something free instead, then you are building consistency instead of building motivation that is fleeting. Someday you will not have motivation, but those days consistency will take you, will keep you going. Consistency will keep you going to places where motivation won't, which are the days when you are down. Consistency will keep you going further, even when the days are dark. That's the difference. That's why you should do it without buying anything. That's the main thing to build. It's the motivation, not by motivation. It's the motivation from consistency. it's a bit like watching motivational video. It will motivate for a few minutes. It will motivate you when watching it, but afterward it will be gone. You need to. I did this few years ago when I was training. I was like overweight, almost. I was obese, morbid obese, and I used to listen to motivational video while I was training in my cell phone. It helps, but now I don't do this anymore. Now when I train, I'm putting some university free courses like electronics at the MIT courses, which also helps because I feel like I'm dumb. People who train a lot, sometimes I use this time and get dumbed down because they only train, and I don't like to feel like just doing a repetitive task without doing something, without dumbing myself down, because it's a lot of time. Training, it takes a lot of time. It's when I read it online, I was wondering how many hours bodybuilder used to every day, and it was like 1 hour and a half every day of the week, not the weekend. And I do when I'm at prime, and usually now I'm not doing it, but I will restart doing it. When I do it 2 hours a day, even the weekend, and I don't see result because I'm on a diet. Don't eat a lot of protein. My diet is very, very strict, stricter than what doctors would suggest to. I never been able to lose that much of weight by listening to doctors, sadly. But I would say don't do what I say, because you need to have a checkup. I don't want to be responsible, just to say. So where we are now, I'm diverting a lot from the subject at hand. So I did a bit of stuff in the French, but I stopped it there because I was very tired. So let's go back to our thing, which is Cascade. Not GIMP. You open this, you do a new view, you place your view, you have it far away, and you close up view here. You leave some place for you put this one on top, always on top. I don't know why it didn't save this. Maybe I had to. I don't know why it didn't save it. Oh, it's the layout, I guess, not the windows. So you can place it like that, and then open Pure Ref, start Pure, and place it inside the tools. You might not need this part, so you can and then if you middle mouse click to pan inside it, and right click to move the window. So now you have pure red. You can expand it a bit, and then you can draw. I lost my variations. I don't like the brownish color, the orange color I have, so I want to switch it back to black and white. So how to do that? In Krita. Is it a bit like Photoshop? No, it isn't. Same color 2 alpha. What the? To make it black? Do I have like over? Yeah. Oh, luminosity. I will lock it, and I will create a new, and I will take my black and white, and then put my palette over there, and I would put the opacity like 10% lower. No, it's not enough. I would do like jumps of 20%. Yeah, 20% is enough. 8, 6. 8, 6, 4. Many. Now I will go back to 100% and pick this one. I don't like it, it was too close. I would like more variation. So it could be fine. Let's try a bit of variation, like 50% in there. And I would need like in there too. Yeah, it's not enough. Like that. Maybe this one too. Yeah, that would be enough. Now it's a bit dark from afar, but that's okay. You can paint. You can block this one if you want to. Since this one is on luminosity, I would create a new one above in normal, and then lock everyone else and start from there. Then I put some dark. So what is important? More important is the far away. What was the control for the size? Open Notepad++. I have an update. So resize, shift left click drag, shift left click drag. So it would need to be very small. Okay. Now I feel like it would need to go like up something. Let's find idea again on, since I wanted the tunic, try to keep it very small, not too, so you avoid zooming too much on it. This is too wide. Let's go from this. So what I could do is like trying to mimic the line. Okay, what else is good on this guy? Would be like the pants, it looks good. Next. This one was, I like the belt, and I would pick like a rider. Now, since it begins to be noisy, so I will start with the lighter stuff. I think that was it. That was just the belt, which is eye on the waist. You will do the close-up later on. You can do it very ugly. You don't look at this, look at the far away version first. Then we will do like back and forth later on. You could do like, ideally you would do like all your silhouette before jumping into the details. That way you don't get tired too quick. So I like the asymmetry there. It's slight, it's not like full asymmetry, too much asymmetry. Sometime you will see like a concept art with big spikes on the one side and nothing on the other side. I don't like big asymmetry, too wide of a difference. I like slight, very light asymmetry. I feel like when it's too asymmetrical, it feels a bit newbie, like a cliche newbie, or it feels too much, too far-fetched, too... Okay, this one, I think there was one with the I think it's the two guys. Where are they? They are there. I did like the left click. No, it was the shift. Like, want it a bit bigger and less tiny. So I want to do like their some kind of cloth poncho thing that are longer on the front, shorter on the back. the opposite of mullet haircut. And then I like that. So you can see the far away looks already very good. You would think like if I do a close-up, it would look some kind of good, but you can see now in the close-up it's not yet there. You don't need the close-up so much, so you could go like to the next one. So I will take a little break. I need a little break, so I will be back in a few minutes. So be back with me. now we will do the next, and we will go differently for this one. I want this at some kind of hat. It's more like guard hat. So I would go like it's like, I would guess that it's a bit like pointy, very slightly pointy or something. And then there's like the edge, harder to do, and maybe his plate or something, the top of his plate. What else? Go check another one. Yeah, no. Seems to be missing the... It would need the Robotniks. Don't remember which one. Yeah, I don't have it. I will pick it up. It was... I think it was AI. It was an AI stuff. Let me go. Yeah. Okay, this is not... This is the old way. So... Yeah, it's not in there. It's more like the hero, but not really. I will keep it there. Hero. Oh yeah, it's there. Yeah. They are good inspiration. Especially this one. So, can I take some stuff in there? Maybe. The waist is lower, which is cool. There is some kind of asymmetry with something in there. So, but that would be it. I would like to be more... do it this plate. Let's try it out. We could do lighter, a bit lighter. Where is he? There. There's some kind of highlight on his armor there. back to darker and maybe do a belt, one belt or two, and the highlight on his hat, and on the side of his hat. So it's too small. Is there anyone in the chat? No one. Hey. Hi. So now. Let's add a bit of dark. Maybe even so you see that far away it looks better than close up. It misses something. What can I add on his back? Maybe this coat. And you can see that it could be like a highland of shade. So it can be a shade on itself, like I could like go higher in the steps and keep it to this shape, but this is too light, so I would like go to this one and then do the contour something. It's like it would end up here. Still too light to my liking, so I will draw there, but while looking up there instead. It might be easier to control. So it's a bit hard, but you need to look down, click, and then look up. Look down, click, look up. Look down, click, look up. Down, click, look up. Look down, click, look up. To understand the principle. Look down, click, look up. I want this to be over. Up. Then you can see they both are very distinct character. And then for the feet, I would like to do something a bit different, not like this. Look down, click, look up, too light. Look down, click, look up, down, click, look up. We'll try to do the highlight of this. maybe the face thing could be cool. I would do a bit larger, a bit smaller. No, a bit darker. Yeah. Dark is the start. Look complete. No. Archer. Oh, it's not even apparent. Too large. Maybe lighter. I'm not sure. Darker. Yeah, more like it. Oh. Maybe a bit of highlight. No. So what else? His arm. I could go back to darker and bring them front. No, doesn't work. Usually you would do like lighter stuff. It reads better. Since the arm are like, if they are not on his side, they can catch more light. So it could be the way to do it. You want something to be readable to the eyes very fast. We will solve the issue later, the details. It's better to have many different silhouettes before going to the details of them. So I'm pressing Ctrl, pick the colors, the shades. So it is very easy to later on put colors. This is another principle. It might be better for oil painting to start in color, but the value of the painting is very important. It's a bit like doing silhouette. So who can tell you that? Everyone talks about that in painting and digital painting, because in oil painting you can't really do value painting. Just check if I can find it. Of course I will, but we'll check. Painting values, fundamentals. Who does it better? If you count. Noah Bradley, yeah. I remember this guy. I think he's doing Cuber. No, this is the other guy. Brush. Mark Brune, I think. Mark Brune. Yeah, Cube Brush is Mark Brune. Noah Bradley, he's a concept artist doing landscape. Let's watch it on the side.
Hello and welcome to Art Camp 3. This is our first official week. You've maybe already watched the week 0 demo, which was a very long 6-hour demo, and hopefully gave you a good introduction to landscapes and what we're going to be doing this summer. But I'm really excited for this summer. It's going to be amazing. I truly believe it's going to be the best art camp I've ever done. There's going to be a lot of great content. I'm thrilled with teaching all of it. There's so many lessons that I'm excited to teach. I've been a landscape painter for about 6 years now professionally, and I'm just now feeling comfortable enough with my abilities in that and my preparation
on our station
that I think I'm ready to finally teach how to paint landscapes. And people have been asking for years, how do you paint clouds? How do you paint this? How do you paint depth in your landscapes? And all this kind of stuff. And it's all been really important. And I've always wanted to teach it. And I finally feel after 6 years of doing it professionally that I'm ready for it. So I'm really excited for this. Thank you so much for signing up. And I'm really excited to get started with this stuff. I think the first week even is just going to be great. You're going to learn so much from it. We've got a bit of a long demo from this week, a little bit longer than the usual 2 hours. And afterwards, we've also got a short video going over all of the most common pitfalls that I see in people painting landscapes and learning how to paint landscapes. So hopefully you'll check that out as well. And you're going to pick up quite a few tricks from that as well. So thank you for everything. I hope you love this demo. I hope you get a lot out of the lesson. And it's going to be a lot of homework, as it always is in art camp. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. And yeah, good luck. All right, so let's get started here. The first thing we're going to be doing is talking about the fundamentals, and the fundamentals as they relate to landscapes. Now, if you've done art camp before, obviously you've heard me ramble on about fundamentals again and again and again and again, because they're so terribly important and are really the overarching theme no matter where you are in your progression as an artist. And they're also the first thing and the main thing that we need to tackle if we're going to be tackling a new subject matter, which I assume for most of you, landscapes are either something you're not super comfortable with, maybe haven't done a lot of, maybe have been something that you've avoided a lot of, or something that you really want to refine. And no matter which one of those you fall into, the fundamentals are the most important things to pay attention to. So we're going to talk a little bit about what sort of fundamentals you need to be focusing on as you refine your skills, and what are the most important ones to focus on. So as it relates to landscapes, probably the two most important fundamentals that you will need to study are values and perspective. And we're going to get into values first and then dive into perspective and give you a very general overview of the perspective you need to learn to be able to do good landscapes. And then we'll go into a little bit of a few things that are a little bit more intrinsic to landscapes and how you construct them as an image. So let's just dive into dealing with values. So this first week, we're not actually going to worry about color pretty much at all. We're just going to be focused on doing grayscale work. Now, I don't tend to work in grayscale, and that's not really what I'm trying to teach you to do here. I'm really trying to teach you here how to learn the fundamental problems of landscape before we get into color. I don't necessarily recommend, and we're actually not going to do it at all, to start and to render something in grayscale and then move it into color. These grayscale studies are in of themselves the end. They're not meant to go into color from here on. They're simply meant to tackle one problem at a time. And we'll get into color, we'll get into light, and that's going to be a huge part of this course. But the first and most important aspect of color is value. And if you don't have good values, you do not have good color, guaranteed. If everything else is great, but your values are just not working.
As I said, it's like the foundation. You shouldn't. This won't be like the color version. I want color over those things. I will do a color version of those silhouette later on.
You're not going to have a good painting, no matter what. So values are paramount to what we're going to study. And so we're going to start to look at how values affect landscapes. Now, probably the most basic landscape that you can imagine, and that pretty much anyone can paint, is to paint a sky, and you paint a sky light, and then you've got a ground that's dark, and hey, maybe you've got a little bit of atmospheric perspective even, and boom, you've got a landscape. This is the most basic landscape you can paint. You'll put in some little mountain silhouettes here, and boom, you've got something that looks like a landscape already. And that's probably the simplest landscape you're ever going to be able to paint. But it has all the elements, and it shows off what we're going to be doing as far as values go. And this is the most basic value structure that you're ever going to have. And it's really the building blocks of everything we're going to end up doing. And that is to say that skies are light values. Ground tends to be darker values. And things in the distance tend to go towards a mid-tone value. And that's super important. And I know it's really basic, and I know a lot of you probably understand this. But a lot of people seem to forget it. And it's this fundamental lesson that is so incredibly important and is so often forgotten. Because you see, the thing is, and of course we're going to do an entire section on things people do wrong, but for now, let's just say that as far as values go, the thing that people will screw up on as far as values go is that they're going to get this value structure that is really simple and really clean all wrong. And what they're going to do is they're going to paint the sky too dark, for one thing, sometimes even going darker than the stuff underneath it, which, happens, but very, very rarely. And then they're going to look at the light and they're going to think that, oh man, the ground must be really bright because that's where the light is hitting. And they're going to start putting light values on there. And all of a sudden, they mess up their entire value scheme by having all these weird contrasting values all over the place. And then they're going to realize that they need some contrast in their images because they think that contrast is really important. And so they're going to put lots of contrast. And hey, clouds need to be contrasty too. And before long, and this happens to almost everyone, especially when they're starting out, they end up with a mess. And they end up with a mess like this that has too much contrast, it has values in the wrong place, and they lose all the structure to their paintings. And this is what we want to avoid. Simple, clear value structures are extremely important. And maintaining those value structures, no matter what, is the first thing you need to focus on. You need to make sure that your values are clear, they are simple, and they're easy to read. And if you mess that up, you're going to end up with a big jumble of a painting in no time. And so the general things that we need to keep in mind is this simple value structure. And if you can get your head around this, you're most of the way to constructing good landscape paintings. And if you can maintain this value structure throughout your entire painting, you're actually going to end up with something that's really solid and something that holds together. And so we're going to drill it into you this week. And we're going to do a lot of these things of very, very simple value structures and not going too contrasty as well. A lot of people will, when they're first starting out, think that contrast is the most important thing in the world. And so they'll paint something that's black and they'll, use the full value range for these things. And the problem with that is that no painting you're ever going to do is going to have this sort of value range in this sort of way. It's just not realistic that you're going to use white, mid-tone, and black. And that's why they look, pretty disjointed. There are some stylistic reasons that maybe you'd want to do a thumbnail like this, but for the most part, try to keep to value ranges that are actually reasonable. And so don't go too light on your skies, and don't go too dark on your ground.
That would be true also for when you do textures, materials in Substance Painter or any other software for textures. You avoid pure white and pure dark. It doesn't really, it exists, but not. It's not usual. Pure dark, they are material scientifically dark, pure dark, but usually you don't see this often in real life. So you avoid it when you do touch the pictures. In real life. Vantablack, I think, yeah. Vantablack. Super black coating. It doesn't have any reflection, but you can do this in a game. But if you want a realistic game, you will avoid pure black. I don't think there is a pure white thing neither, as in terms of material, except if it's like very bright. It's not, it does. It's like it is bright in the sense of a light. Emissive, we say in 3D world, emissive. Something that emit a light. Usually in 3D engine, it doesn't emit light; it fakes it. But in the new Unreal version, it emits light. Emissive could be bright white, pure white, but in reality you want to avoid. You want to put a little tint of color.
Save those values on the end of the spectrum for when you really, really need it. So that's the basics. And I know this is super, super simple right here. And we're going to do a few of these just to make sure you get the point. But these simple value structures are the most important thing that you can learn. And they're the thing that everybody forgets. So again, dark ground, light sky, and then mid-tone for the distance. And that's it. Just, concentrate on getting those 3 good values, nice clear separation, good silhouettes, and boom, you've got something that is easy to read. And there's going to be exceptions to this. There's going to be tons and tons of exceptions to this where different value structures are going to happen. And that's okay, because it's all built off of this basis of this general understanding of these really simple structures. You can, of course, change and break the rules and stuff like that later on. But when you're starting out, understanding these basics is the most important thing, and understanding how these values work. And we're starting really basic here, and I know that, and it's probably going to drive some of you pretty crazy. But I swear, no matter where you're at, whether you're just starting out with landscapes, have no idea what you're doing, or have done landscapes for years, a good reminder lesson here is really important, and it's gonna help. So even if you're worried about being bored out of your mind, try not to worry about it too much. So we're just going to do a few of these just to show you that yes, there's a lot of possibility, and yes, if you can reduce it to 3 values, and just this really simple value structure where there's not really much variation, where you've got your ground and your foreground in dark, your midground in a midtone, and your sky in a light tone, and what you can do with just that. And we'll show you all the different value ranges that you can do besides that, and they're going to be great, and you're probably going to use them for the most part. But this is our starting point, and this is what everyone needs to learn first. They need to get really comfortable with these simple structures before they worry about the more complicated ones or reversing this and doing something entirely different. First, we're going to do these really, really simple things. I'm going to build into you again and again just how important the really simple things are, because probably a lot of you have seen the I guess pre-Art Camp demo that I already put out there, the big 6-hour thing that I uploaded for everyone. And that took me a long time, and it's a fully rendered painting and all of that. But it's this lesson right here that's the most important thing. It's always remembering this, no matter how far into a painting you are, is always, always, always thinking about these simple value structures. And if you take a really nice, finished, beautiful painting and you simplify it down, odds are the value structure is still going to hold together. And so many people can do these things, and then they lose track of them. And they all of a sudden ignore this as they get into rendering and details and all that stuff, and rendering trees and grass and how do you handle all this different stuff, and oh, now we've got to worry about color, what do we do with that? And they completely forget about this simple value structure. And again, it's the most basic one you can do, but it's so important. And you can do this value structure within different ranges of values too. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. You can have different sort of palettes of value, if you want to think about it like that, where you're using different ranges of the value spectrum. So you can have a really low-key painting. And when we talk about low-key paintings, we tend to talk about really dark values. So let's try doing this one in a really dark value range, where you've got your darks being really dark, you've got your midtone being darker than we've been doing, and then your light value doesn't even get that light. We'll keep the light value pretty dark here. And so it's going to end up being this really moody, dark kind of scene. And you're going to, maybe do some landscapes like that. Maybe it's more of an overcast scene or something like that, where it's really, quiet and subdued, and you're going to get this different feel to it. But again, you're thinking about that simple value range where you've got dark foreground, a midtone in the midground, and then that sky is light. So even though it's an entirely different value range, it all still holds together. And same can be said for doing high key paintings. Maybe we're doing something that's really, really bright. And so let's try to figure that one out. So let's go really bright with all this stuff. And so that'll be our light value there. Again, not going entirely white. And then you've got a really light midtone. And then our dark is even not going to be that dark. It's going to be pretty light. And all of a sudden we're going to get this really high key, bright, kind of sunny feel to our painting. Even though we're just working with really abstract shapes, just blobs of value here really, we're still getting this feeling of depth. We're getting a feeling of sort of almost the quality of the light. We can tell this is a very bright scene. It's going to be very well lit, simply because of the value ranges we're using. So these only take a little while, and we're going to do a lot of these, and it's probably going to drive you crazy, and that's okay. That's part of the exercise, is to drive you crazy, but it's to drill it into your head just how important all of this stuff is. And it's super, super important. And we're going to do some of these out of our head, like we're doing here, and we're also going to do this using some reference this week, and so that you can get an idea of how to simplify things. But for now, we're just going to go over these really, really simple value structures. And I know you're probably going to get sick of me hearing me talk about simple value structures, but that's pretty much what we're doing for the next 12 weeks, is we're focusing on this stuff, because it's these fundamental lessons, as easy to understand as they are, that are going to dictate everything we do for the rest of the course. I promise you that. As easy as this stuff might be to grasp, it's really, really important, and it's going to keep coming back and back and back, and we're just going to keep coming back to this, because this is the most important thing. And you can do these traditionally, you can do them digitally, it really doesn't matter, as long as you can maintain very flat, very simple, very easy to read values, and maintain your edges. That's why digital is a little bit easier to do for this stuff, but it's not necessary that you work digitally, of course. Pretty much the entire course is going to be able to be done in whatever medium you want, but for the sake of ease, I'm showing it digitally, just because it's easier for me. So let's talk a little bit about kind of where this would go as you progress the image, because I think it's important, because you might see something like this and realize, like, yeah, sure, that holds together, that has depth, that I can read, but how would you render it? And the first thing everyone's going to do when they render is be like, oh yeah, I can have like some super crazy contrast here and have the light hitting, it's going to be awesome, and they destroy their values immediately. And don't do that. As we progress this stuff in future weeks, always keep in mind these values. And so rather than destroy your value range, see what you can do to maintain your value range. And that's what it's going to be all about. So rather than destroying the silhouette that we've got with values that don't really belong there, what if we kept our values more or less really, really close to what we already had for these silhouettes? What if instead of going crazy and destroying our form with just high intensity values that don't really belong there, we keep our values really tight within these different ranges that we've already set up? Just like this, where you're starting to get some detail in there, you're starting to get some form in there, but you're maintaining this value structure you've set up. And that's what it's all about. So rather than going crazy back here with this crazy light and messing it up and getting it confused with the sky, what if you kept your value range really tight and kept it in a range that would definitely be darker than that sky, but would still give you a little bit of room to work with to get in some details in there? So just like this. just to show you a little bit about how we might go about this. Give a little bit more room for this guy here. Now, I know when I was starting out, I had a hard time doing this because, one of the fundamental lessons you'll learn about value is the importance of contrast. And contrast it's really enticing, and it makes people want to do these really contrasty images and stuff. But the problem with that is that if you're not careful with contrast, contrast can destroy your values. And it's important to realize when you should have contrast and when you shouldn't have contrast. And there are times, of course, when you're trying to maintain this value structure that you actually need to tone down your contrast. Rather than do the thing you might want to do and might feel like doing, you need to maintain this value structure. So I'm just going to keep harping these same lessons into you, and we're going to keep doing it for, as I said, 12 weeks. But I swear this stuff is crazy, crazy important. And this is the building block right here. These simple value structures, and understanding foreground, midground, background. And the simplest is going to be there's a ground plane, there's a midground plane, and then there's the background. It's your sky. And if you just make that dark tone, mid tone, and a light tone, boom, you're done. And of course, there's other value ranges. Of course, there's exceptions to this. Of course, there's different structures. There's cases where the foreground's light and the background is dark, and that's okay too. And there's all these different exceptions, but this is the basic one. This is the one you need to learn first. And this is the one you need to get really, really comfortable with constructing. And if you can get really comfortable with constructing this one, the other ones become much more manageable because you learn the very basics lesson of getting good silhouettes, good shapes, and good depth in your images very, very easily. And so that's why I want you to learn this one first, and we'll move on to other ones as we progress. Now, the other thing that is really, really important in landscapes, aside from value, is perspective. And there's two different kinds.
So I can give you, for the character, you can see that the coat is very bright, the yellow coat is bright. You can guess with your brain which one would be brighter in black and white, and you can make like island of them, like I'm doing there. So now I would like to do the yellow coat. I would do like another island which is not brighter than the rest, but for now I'm doing this. I could do like a darker scarf thing. It's too dark for me, so I will do it with this one, and then do the coat brighter. And then the pants are getting the same as, but you can see the pants even in the light are darker than the yellow. If the yellow wasn't in the shadow, it would be brighter than the green. This is also an issue with the sRGB. If you go black and white RGB or CMYK, you will have like the shade. Let's see if I can find the blues are falling faster into the dark than yellow. So I don't know if I can find maybe shade. Let's see if I can find it. Better when it's a comparison. Let's see. Pictures. Oops. This is a good one, but it's not the one I'm looking for. You can see the blues will be darker than all the other. Usually the yellow will be lighter than even the green, but this yellow is orangey, so it's darker than the green. But I want all of them. How can I find this? CMY key shades and black and white. Grayscale. Grayscale. sRGB. The sRGB will put them equal. So versus RGB. On the picture. Maybe I can show up like live in Krita. Let's create a new file and then take a color like let's change it to, I think Photopea would be better for that, because I know Photoshop better for that kind of stuff. So if we pick like yellow, at the max. And then at the middle, you can see it's 50 there. And uh, 25%. But if you pick blue there, then at 50%, and then 25, you see that the yellow, the blue is going darker faster than yellow. If I put this in black and white, oh, because we are in sRGB, it makes them equal. But if we are not in sRGB, which is we would need to copy that new file and pick another. I guess it would work. But you see already by the eye, you see that our eye see it darker. Maybe the software won't desaturate. Well, yeah, the software doesn't. My key, you can see that it changed it, but it changed it in switching to another mode, which is the CMY key: cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Yeah, it won't work that way. But I guess that if I do like print screen, copy, I'm not sure, but I will try it. And then a yellow. It might not work because it seems that it calibrate for me the black and white values. Let's see what it says. Will it calibrate it? If I do Control T and flip horizontal, Control T, flip horizontal, then yes, and adjust, desaturate. Oh, it desaturated one layer. Desaturate. Yeah, no, it seems to calibrate them. If I do by end instead, will it? I want it all. It seems to calibrate as if it was already in sRGB, even though I didn't pick sRGB. Yeah, it's too much of but you can guess the color of something by looking at the black and white picture. Values.
I want to know what kind of useless skills people have picked up from their job, school, or hobbies.
So in college, I released a video game with 2 friends, and I was responsible for all the programming and all the art. So I got really used to working with RGB values, which is when you represent a color as 3 numbers, the amount of red, the amount of green, and the amount of blue. And we were recording a playtest one time, and I was just like, y'all, I have been working with these values so much, I feel like I could guess any color I see in real life and guess the 3 values. And so a friend of mine was wearing nail polish at the time, and I tried to guess the values, and this is what happened.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's more like a grayscale. There is like the red that is usually very recognizable when you see a picture in black and white. There are people that can tell that might be red from a grayscale picture. Like I can't find it right now, but they have different values. Color as the values. You can see there they are supposed to be the same amount, but the blue, and the reason for that is that blue has if you look at the wavelength, blue, it's closer to smaller range, like the ultraviolet. So the more you go into the ultraviolet, the blues are squished together. It's one of the reasons why the blues are even like the heavy particles that the heavy particle are have more energy. It's a bit the same reason. There is more surface in squished. Radio wave are light. Often people are afraid of radio wave, but they are very light. They don't do much damage, but if you do in ultraviolet a lot of energy, there is a lot of surface. One other guy which is interesting is there's another guy. Let's see if I can find him. Marco Bucci. Okay, we will pass from Noah Bradley, those two guys.
What's your worst essay grade?
Probably like a 71.
Worst essay grade,
are
probably like a
the
60%.
tops.
Oh, apparently I haven't made a video in a
This
while.
one,
A few people have
If you
pointed
want to start painting, I would suggest to watch all of this video.
This is the sketch.
One of the best teachers for painting colors, explaining color theory. He did a lot more video back in the days. He didn't show his face when I watched him, so he gives a lot of good tips.
that out. So I'm back, and I want to talk painting fundamentals for 10 minutes. What I'm going to paint here is a very simple scene, and everything I talk about is going to deal with the essential fundamental thoughts that go through my head on any painting that I ever do. It could be a portrait from life, an illustration out of my head, or anything in between. The thoughts are identical, and this simple little painting is going to approach every major problem of a painting. Okay, so right away, the thing that I am painting, or that this, when you're painting like this, the thing that we're doing is we are painting light. Okay, we're not drawing outlines, we're not drawing 3D form, we're painting light. And if we paint light correctly, it will look 3D, it will look like it has form, but really it's just two-dimensional shapes of color and value. Okay, so right away, the first thing to think about when you're painting, you are constantly dealing with understanding where the light is coming from and how that affects the shapes of light and shadow. There are two families in your painting. There's a light and a shadow family, and these things are what helps us, or what makes us understand what we see. In real life and in a painting, it's the same. When we see a light and shadow, they are always separate. Okay, as you can see in this painting right now, you can clearly tell where the light is and where the shadow is. That is one of the essential elements of having a readable painting, is being able to understand, having your brain understand where light is hitting and where shadow is. Now, I've picked a very obvious light source for this. I'm basically painting a sunlight effect. I've got a single source that's a hard light coming from somewhere in the top right. So it's basically like a sun. And that's a very convenient light source to paint because it creates very clear light and shadow shapes. That's why you see some of the beginner life drawing sessions where they have like a single source on the model, because it creates these shapes that are easy to draw. So drawing in a painting is really placing your shapes of value. Okay, the drawing in this painting is very simple. I've got those spheres there are really not spheres to me. They're shapes of light and shadow. So the front one is a shape of light next to a shape of shadow. And then to the left of that is a shape of shadow next to a shape of light. And below that is the cast shadow shape they make. Okay, I think in these terms. It's always just shapes of light and shapes of shadow. Now, when you have these clearly in your mind and clearly on the canvas, then you can start worrying about things like color temperature. Okay, is the light warm or is it cool? And in this case, I'm painting a warm light. The sun is always a warm light, and that's what I'm imitating here. And when you have a warm light, something happens. The things that are lit, the light shapes of value, are going to be of a warmer color temperature than the things that are in shadow. You might ask why this happens. This is, by the way, this is the closest thing to a rule in painting, is that warm light will produce cooler looking shadows, and the opposite is true. Cool light will produce warmer looking shadows. The reason this is true is because when you have like a warm light, like I do here, everything the warm light hits is going to look warm. That makes sense, right? Therefore, everything the warm light doesn't hit is going to look cool. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. So you always keep your values separate, light and shadow, and you keep your temperature separate. Now, this doesn't mean that because this is a warm light, that everything in the light is screaming warm and everything in the shadow is freezing cold. Okay, you work these together. If you notice in some of the light shapes that I've already got some cooler warms against some warmer warms that are creating a nice interplay of color. And you look at any good painting and you'll see this. this happens a lot, and even in real life, nothing is just one flat warm color or cool color. It's an intermix. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is that these temperatures belong to a family. So the warm family should never go cooler than the cooler family. You can still have warms and cools in a warm light area, but it can't ever be cooler than what's going on in the cool family. Does that make sense? Same with values. When you have light and shadow, like we do here very clearly, nothing in the shadow can ever be as light as something in the light, and nothing in the light can ever be as dark as something in the shadow. Again, it's very simple. The best part about painting, the thing that I love, is that it never gets more complicated than this. Everything I talk about here really is as complicated as it ever gets. The only thing that is challenging is combining all of these fundamentals, like they compound on top of each other. And when you're dealing with a more complex situation, you have to really have your wits about you and be able to pull these fundamentals out effortlessly. You know, they just come out because you understand them so well. That's the challenge of painting. That's why the more you do it, the more effortless it looks anyway. But it's always the same thoughts going through your head. And I know this is true because some of the painters I really look up to say the exact same things. And, you know, those are the kind of things I'm discovering along the way, too. Okay, so let's talk shadow for a second. In the beginning of this painting, I established very clear shadow shapes. And I left them that way for a while. We're for almost 6 minutes into the painting, and up until this point, they were pretty flat. Now I'm working into the shadows, adding reflected light. And I'm sure a lot of you heard this term, reflected light. Reflected light really is kind of the secret to making your painting look like it's real light, at least from my experience and in my opinion. Reflected light is essential, and it will make your painting glow, or it will make your light look convincing. Reflected light is tricky though, because it only exists in shadow, or at least it's only visible in shadow. And reflected light will lighten your shadows, but you have to keep in mind that reflected light will never make your shadow values lighter than anything that's actually in the light. So you're going to see where I'm painting right now at the left edge of that sphere. I'm just creeping right up to the edge of that value being competitive with the light value, but it still stays in shadow. Squint your eyes down and you can see a very clear separation still. I'm just pushing those values just to the breaking point, and it's giving that sphere a nice look, like the light is bouncing off the ground or bouncing off the wall and hitting it. And it really gives it a luminous look. Even look at the front sphere receiving light, although it's bouncing off the back sphere and hitting the front. You kind of see it's a little redder there, because in my thinking, it's a warmer bounced light hitting a cooler shadow. So you're going to get some warms influencing the cools. You see, this gets back to what I was saying before about how you can still have warm and cool play in a predominantly cool part of your painting, but it can never get to the point where that reflected light is warmer than anything in the light. Okay? I'm still keeping those families together. Just like the value families, there's still clearly light and shadow there. They don't compete at all.
So
and this is what you have to keep in mind.
I will leave it there. Go to the French live stream. I will continue in the next episode tomorrow. So thank you for watching. I might do some in my free time before the live stream tomorrow, and come back for a new topic, next topic. So we'll see tomorrow. If you want to support me, there is a link in the description and on YouTube. The link to my Patreon and a tipping platform if you can't pay that high. Or there is the Gumroad. You can put $0, and I will add you to my mailing list and give you the documentation building repository if you want it. Talk about it in previous live stream. So that will be it for tonight. Let's